5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start. May I now turn to some of the specific issues that have been raised in the course of the debate. A major priority of this country's foreign policy, as indeed the foreign policy of all the countries, is its relationship with its neighboring countries. We are very keen and have always been very keen for having best relations with our neighbors. We have many common aspects. We are one people in many aspects because we have culture ties and we have economic linkages, and where we do not have economic linkages, we have good reasons to have economic linkages. In many respects, therefore, the fraternal spirit that we have advocate for the international community as a whole, that fraternal spirit must prevail even more vehemently in our own neighborhood, in this region, in this subcontinent, and therefore the relations with our neighbors and the strengthening of these relations are of priority in our foreign policy objectives. We look at the relationship with our neighbors from two places. One is the multilateral plan, and that is basically through the regional arrangement of the SARC, and the other is, of course, the bilateral plan. As far as SARC is concerned, I would like to submit here that the recent SARC summit held in Colombo last December, we hope will impart economic content to growing cooperation amongst the South Asian countries within the SARC framework. Alleviation of poverty has been accorded the highest priority by the summit leaders who agreed in Colombo to set up an independent South Asian Commission to study and report to the next SARC summit its recommendations on poverty alleviation in South Asia. With these developments, it is expected that SARC will be more responsive to the needs and aspirations of the people of South Asia. As far as bilateral relations are concerned, over the last 1 year or so, there has been, by and large, generally speaking, a substantial upswing in these relations. I could mention, for instance, Indo Nepal relations. In the course of last 1 year, and indeed more than 1 year, Indo-Nepal relations have not merely been normalized but in the recent past have been strengthened and intensified. During the Nepalese Prime Minister's visit to India in December 2001, substantial progress was made in identifying concrete areas and mechanism or mutually beneficial bilateral cooperation between India and Nepal. As many as five treaties and agreements were signed between the two countries for cooperation in a large number of areas such as trade, transit, control of unauthorized trade, agriculture, education, science and technology. A number of decisions were taken for cooperation in the key area of water resources development. Thus, the two countries are moving towards a new era of mutual beneficial bilateral cooperation. In short, I may say that our relations with Nepal are at a splendid high level, and perhaps they have never been as good as they are now. we would indeed improve on this spirit of fraternity and cooperation for further benefit of both our countries and people. As far as Sri Lanka is concerned, the meeting between our Prime Minister and President Premandasa in December 2001 on the occasion of the SARC summit gave a further boost to bilateral relations and enabled discussion of issues of concern. It was agreed that Sri Lanka would take back Tamil refugees presently in India who were desirous of returning voluntarily to their homeland. As of now, approximately 15,000 have returned and the movement is continuing. We have taken up with the Sri Lanka government incidents of attacks by Sri Lanka Navy on our fishing vessels which stray beyond the maritime boundary. Assurances have been received from them that such instances will not be recur. At the same time, it is necessary that our fishermen be advised to confine their fishing activities to the Indian side of the maritime boundary. And we are, at the direction of the Prime Minister, in the process of seeing as to what we can do within the existing legal framework to improve upon the possibility of fishermen to fish in some of these areas which we are now discussing. Now I come to Pakistan. Unfortunately, in spite of our good wishes and in spite of our keen desire, I am not in a position to report to the House that our relations with Pakistan are in a very good condition. The crux of the problem remains Pakistan's continued support to terrorism and subversion directed against the Indian states of Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab. Assurances conveyed by Pakistan in this regard remain to be translated. Pakistan has also been attempting to internationalize the Kashmir issue and has misrepresented and distorted the situation in the valley through false propaganda. On our part, we are willing to discuss and seek a peaceful resolution of all issues with Pakistan. But it is evident that meaningful discussions on bilateral issues can only be held once Pakistan stops its interference and support to terrorism.